Hey guys, so I'm excited to do our first blog post. We have Mike Kelly here today from Papa Bear Nut Butters. And so we invited Mike from Papa Bear to come join us and tell us a little story about how he got into food entrepreneurism, how the Cottage Food Law helped him propel his business, and sort of like everything that's involved with launching a brand and competing in this very competitive food space. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, of course.
Yeah, so just tell us a little bit about your product and how you got into it.
Sure, so I launched in September of 2016. And basically the whole concept was created because I was trying to find something to do outside of a job I didn't really care for very much. And I was just saying, well, I always have been kind of entrepreneurial minded. And basically I just started saying, well, I eat so much peanut butter. How difficult can peanut butter be to make? And
how much peanut butter were you eating?
It was, well, so it got to the point where I had to start portioning out. So I would do 2 like big tablespoons and I put them in like a little, those little mini Tupperwares for nuts or something. And I'd take them to work. I'm like, okay, now this is my peanut butter for the day. It was like my thing.
Right.
But I was going through, a jar a week easy. That was like not even a thing. And I said, well, how difficult could it be to make? I would enjoy making it. It's healthy. And so I started playing with flavors, messing around with a few things. And then I started changing the process, which actually led to creating the brand. Because as you know, there's 1,000,001 brands on the shelf when it comes to peanut butter.
Right. Yeah. And I think lately you just see there's like more of an emergence of like better quality peanuts or like organic or non-GMO.
Right.
So there's been this upsurge of the demand for like higher quality premium peanut butter or nut butter for that matter.
Sure. And growing up, it was just peanut butter.
Right.
It was just Skippy and Jif.
That's
and then people, brands came out doing all.
What's the one that's swirly with the jam?
Goobers, was it?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's right. Oh man, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Yeah. But it was all crap, during those times. And then with the people just being more health conscious in general, and just started using different nuts and almonds and cashews and pecans and whatever, all of a sudden now the space is filled and very, 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 very competitive. So I said, all right, well, I don't want to just roll out peanut butter and almond butter. Anybody can do that. It's pretty simple. So I started messing with the process. So I started combining all the ingredients and baking them. So basically I was making brittle. I was making like candied nuts.
Okay.
And it kind of reminded me of I grew up in New Jersey and you walk around.
Why did you decide to bake them initially? When was that like your first?
Well, I thought when I started doing it, there was smells happening and tastes happening that kind of were reminding me of growing up. Like in a little Jersey Shore town, you go to the beach or you can go to Six Flags or something like that and you smell like the candied nuts as people, even in a mall, right? They do like the candied, sugary, buttery nuts. I
think that's so huge that how food and like aromas are so nostalgic, right?
Yeah,
they take you back.
Exactly.
And we've even seen that in the DishDivvy platform of like, because we provide a lot of authentic foods that people grew up with their grandmas making, and so when they get this order, they're like, wow, this just like took me back 20 years. So I think that is definitely true when it comes to the food industry. It's such an emotional process.
And people love nostalgia, like you're just saying, which is why I made the banana peanut butter, because people are like, oh man, banana and peanuts just remind me of my childhood.
Right.
That's off topic. But basically, I had this sense, and I was like, man, this reminds me of being a kid and getting the candy nuts from the boardwalk from the vendor, or walking the mall when you're 12 with $5 in your pocket. You're like, man, what can I buy?
Right.
So that smell reminded me, or that taste and some smells reminded me of that. And I said, why don't we try changing the process rather than changing the ingredients? Because generally the same process goes on for every other brand out there, where it's you grind the nuts, then you add the ingredients. And I said, why don't we try adding the ingredients, baking them, and then grinding them down?
Okay.
Which presented some challenges.
Does that like release the oils from the nuts?
Yeah, it releases the oils from the nuts. It caramelizes the sweeteners, organic agave, organic maple syrup, things like that. It also creates a lot of problems. It gets really, really hot. So when you pull it out and you grind it in a food processor, the maple syrup is hot, it's sticky, you're doing a lot of scraping.
Yeah.
And this was just, again, this was when I was first starting out. I didn't even know if I wanted to do it yet. I was just like trying things.
So none of that deterred you? You're like, this is getting messy, it's getting hard.
I was having fun with it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like, there's a reason why people don't do it a certain way, because it's the hard way.
Right.
For just about anything, There's a reason why people didn't do it that way, and it's because it's hard. But once you figure out the processes that work correctly, you find out maybe, I add a little bit less of this and a little bit more of that, and it'll help the consistency of the product. Once you figure out those little intricacies, from there you kind of know what you can make next.
Wouldn't you say that sometimes it's better to go through those mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you knew they would be mistakes. Because in entrepreneurism, I think a lot of people sometimes think that, you know, if it fails the first time, then like, if, you know, everybody would have failed and they would, this doesn't make sense because like then everybody would have done it, but it's not working. But a lot of times you have to go through failure after failure after failure or mistakes. But I think as an entrepreneur, you always look at them as learning opportunities, right? As opposed to a failure.
Well, you know, when we first met, I said to the group, I said, you know, I got an MBA from being 2 years in this business.
Yeah.
You know? I wouldn't call it a free MBA, but I got an
That's
MBA.
true.
You know, because you just learn to solve problems yourself, and that's the kind of people that I gravitate towards. Are gritty people who just kind of are problem solvers. You say, hey, like this is the issue, this is the problem, this is what I need solved, and you may not be a tax genius or a marketing genius or a salesperson or a chef, but in a couple hours figure it out.
Those are things you don't even learn in school.
Right,
Those
exactly.
are, you know, that it factor, that grit factor.
It's problem solving people.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the smartest person on the planet to launch any kind of business. All you gotta do is have some will and determination. And so, like going through those troubles, which I certainly did, you know, it cost me money, of course.
Yeah.
But I knew those things when I knew at first. I'm very, very happy that somebody didn't taste my product the first day and said, hey, I want to give you $100,000 so you can launch this. I'm very happy that didn't happen.
Right, because you wouldn't have perfected your recipe.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I would have said, yeah, whatever, fuck it, make whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I would have said, I would have sent it to
First F-bomb.
Yeah, sorry. I would have said, send it to a manufacturer and let's just make something and get it out there. Instead of like being a chef and like getting in there and cooking and learning how cashews grind in a food processor. We're learning how
the science behind food.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't go to culinary school.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a chef, but I would never call myself a chef. I love to cook, and this has like made me a, you know, I wouldn't say chef again, but cook of some sort.
Yeah, a better understanding. I think also appreciating like just the beauty of food, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so versatile.
Yeah.
Like you can take a peanut and make it process it so many different ways, and so it tastes very different.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's cut into how you actually got this started, because people who are trying to launch a food brand are probably terrified because they're like, how am I going to compete with like the Crafts of the world and like all these big labels? As a small entrepreneur, like how did you even get into creating this legally, and how did you even know what the regulatory process was to do that?
Well, immediately when you start making a food product, you're like, okay, I want my brand to be on every shelf in the country, every Whole Foods, whatever, and then that's intimidating. Amazon's intimidating. Everything's intimidating. The only thing that doesn't feel intimidating is even this is to a little bit is going to a farmer's market and just selling one-on-one. But when it came to doing it legally, a friend had mentioned, oh, there's a law in California called the Cottage Food Law, which you should look into. And I said, okay, let me check it out.
Had you ever heard of that?
Never heard of it. No, never heard of it.
It's funny because most people haven't. So
No.
when I even talk about it, they're like, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
allowed? I'm like, yes.
I know, it's kind of mind-blowing. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, it's like a real thing. Because in my mind, I was like, okay, at that point I had two flavors. I was like, okay, these are the two I'm going to go to market with. And now I'm like, well, how the hell am I going to raise the money to get this manufactured or bring this to like, I didn't even think about a commercial kitchen at that point.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, who's going to make this for me and how am I going to get the money to do it?
Because till that point, you had just been like using different blenders. I know you went through so many of them,
13.
right? 13 blenders.
Oh, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, at the very least.
And a Vitamix, right?
Yeah. So I was using Cuisinart. I've gone through Vitamix, Cuisinart food processors, Breville food processors.
Ninjas,
every
all
brand,
those
like,
things.
and you read reviews and like, oh, this one's got to be better. And then,
Yeah.
But none of them are meant for commercial, production.
Do you have like peanut butter splattering on the wall?
Oh, everywhere. And I moved out of apartments and I lived on the ceiling. I was like, you know. But yeah, so I looked into this Cottage Food Law and I said, okay, well this makes sense because it was cheap.
Yeah.
I knew you had to go through through some hoops to do it, especially when you sign the website. Everything's. I talk to people all the time. Like a lot of information is intimidating to people. You're like, okay, I gotta check this box.
Because I've looked at the application, it's pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
So when you go through it, it's basic information. It's just very lengthy, and you're kind of like, oh.
And when you look at it, I don't know if it's just me, but when I look at something that daunting on a screen with all that information, I panic.
Yeah.
So I print. Right?
Yeah.
I print and I cross off.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, and like
Which is funny because like I'm so digital with everything else, but like even with like legal contracts, if I'm like reading it, I'm just like, this is just making.
I'd rather print because I can look at it. I could take it to the beach and sit at whatever it is.
And I think there's that psychology, I know we're going off topic, but there's that psychology of when you put something in physical writing, it actually manifests better because you've actually written it down, as opposed to like typing it to yourself.
Totally. I still to this day keep a notebook, and it's just, again, it's just a better way for me to operate personally. But yeah, when it came down to finally getting the license, I said, okay, this is the thing that makes most sense, and I can launch 2 products. And up until that point, I was like, well, cottage food, or take out a massive bank loan, or do a Kickstarter, or whatever.
Right.
But all I knew was what my friends were telling me, that, hey, your product's great. I was like, yeah, everyone says that, you know. And then I had a handful of friends who were super honest, like, oh, I changed this, I changed that.
Yeah.
But
those are
I
good
wanted,
friends to have.
Yeah. but more than that, I wanted the opinion of a stranger, you know. And I still remember the first person coming up to me at the first farmer's market, first person that tasted it bought it. And I remember thinking, like, that's awesome, you know, like that was the best feeling.
It's a validator.
Yeah, it was a validator, and you can tell your story, and you can be in front of the people, which was a great way to learn.
So you printed out this application, and you made your little notes, and then what? You filled it out, you sent it in.
Yeah, I mean, I checked all the boxes. I was probably back and forth on the phone with them daily. It was one of those things where I just wanted to get it done. I wanted to get the license, and it takes some time for me.
How long was that back and forth?
It was several months. It was probably 2 to 3 months before the person came out and inspected my kitchen, made sure it was all good. Because up until that point, you know, again, you're working a full-time job, you're running this as a side business, and you're trying to figure out, like, you know, what exactly to do, and maybe you can't make calls between the hours of 9 and 5 when they're open because you're at your job or whatever, so you're leaving voicemails, you're sending emails. And so, you know, ultimately it came down to getting them to check me off and say, yeah, you're good to go, and then figure out everything else.
So finally the health inspector comes from LA County, right? Were you nervous?
Yeah, it was the cleanest my apartment had ever been in history, ever.
So you had to scrape the peanut butter off the walls.
Yeah, so every speck, I mean, I hired someone to come, not that I'm not a clean guy, but I hired someone to come in and clean and make sure that when he walked in, he was like, okay, this is a safe place for food to be produced.
Yeah, and how long did the inspection take?
Not very long. For consumer packaged goods, especially for what I was doing, my operation was small, so you've got jars, you've got caps, you've got food processor, you've got some ingredients, right? Most of which could fit on a counter space way smaller than this, which it was. But yeah, it didn't take long, maybe 5-10 minutes. He just said, you know, kind of show me what you go through. He checked the sanitary type of things, making sure that everything we were doing was up to code as far as I know.
And generally I've heard from some previous health inspectors that when they walk into a kitchen, even if it's for cottage food, like a home kitchen, like instantly they know this is a clean kitchen because they've seen sort of the horrors of some of the restaurants, especially in like a condensed area like LA, where they're looking for like a lot more like horrific things like roaches and you know, infestations and that kind of thing. So generally, like with the home kitchen, when you keep it clean and you sanitize and everything, these health inspectors walk in and they're like, oh, like this.
Yeah, they probably like it.
This looks good, you know?
I think they know right away. I mean, not only that, but it's your home, so you're going to keep it cleaner than maybe
there isn't like 100 people walking through it every single day like a restaurant.
Right.
So you got your certification. And we just started running with that?
He said, okay, you're good to go. He walked out and I was like, let's go. Like that was like really the kick in the ass that said, like, you know, that's what separates a company who's just on paper and a company who's actively making things. And I was like, well, now I can do whatever I want. Like now I can make new products and I can experiment and sell, and like I was super excited to do that. So basically the second he left, I put in a bunch of farmers market applications. And I just said,
did the farmers market like know about cottage food? Like were they asking for that kind of like?
A lot of them don't accept cottage food. They just for one reason or another they choose not to. So I sent probably 20 applications out, and I was accepted to like right off the bat like 2 or 3, and then some of those 2 or 3 have the farmers market companies who operate many locations. And then again, some of them don't take cottage food because, you know, for one reason or another they choose not to. They just want farmers or something. And then others are more accepting of, you know, smaller businesses who are kind of trying to grow. Which was huge. Like without cottage food and that ability to go do the farmers markets, I wouldn't have known who my customer was. I didn't write a business plan, for the record. I just said, I'm just gonna make this shit.
Well, you did your MBA through experience.
I didn't write a business plan. I didn't have a mission statement. Like all the stuff that people tell you you're supposed to do when you're starting a business. All I did was protect myself, LLC, Cottage Food Law, and then I just bought the things all the health permits I needed, all that stuff. But then I just bought.
And you had to get a food handler license too, right?
Yeah, all those things.
Like food safety kind of
right,
stuff.
right. Those things, which a lot of the cottage food people help with, and then the farmers market people help with it.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with Cottage Food Law, the law allows you to generate up to $50,000 of revenue, creating non-perishable food from your home kitchen. And I know last time we had spoken, you're like, well, that's very lenient, because if you're doing anything more than like $25,000, $30,000 from your home kitchen, it's going to wreck your kitchen. So you really start to graduate to the next level of a commercial food space, right? So the purpose of the bill was to allow food entrepreneurs like Mike, like Ani, we're going to talk to in a minute, who's going to make some amazing cookies for us using Mike's nut butters. It allows you to get into the commercial food space without having to put up this huge capital, being intimidated by these large brands who can just squash you, right? And we've been huge advocates of Assembly Bill 626, which, like many of you who've been following us know, that's sort of an extension from the cottage food of now allowing perishable foods to be generated out of a home kitchen, again up to $50K in revenue. And what we've seen with our home kitchen operators is that, they're not making meals 24/7, 7 days a week. And so even if they were getting, orders twice a week, 3 times a week, that would be probably like their maximum capacity. And so this allows these home cooks and home bakers and all those kinds of entrepreneurs to get into this competitive space without having to have those roadblocks that you typically would if you're not like a large company. Right. So DishDivvy has always been a huge advocate of cottage food. We're definitely a huge advocate of Assembly Bill 626, which is going to a final Senate floor vote in August. So for those of you who are watching who are interested to get into the advocacy of sort of this food share movement and just like food entrepreneurism, definitely reach out to us. And I really love Mike's story because it just shows you how this legislation works and it helps real people and real communities.
Yeah, I mean it helps, again, little tiny brand become slightly less little tiny.
Yeah.
And now you become a slightly bigger brand, and then who knows, down the road maybe you're a giant brand.
Yeah.
But again,
maybe on How I Built This one day podcast, talking about how you started in your home kitchen.
Right, and I couldn't have done it without the Cottage Food Law, I know that. But again, it was massively important and crucial to the start of my business. And then to the ability to grow and experiment and try things without breaking the bank, quitting my job, and burying myself in debt.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you recently just kind of made the plunge to start selling on Amazon. Did a lot of thought go into doing that? I know you have a standalone website where people can purchase your products, but definitely Amazon gives you some exposure and reach. How's that experience been?
Yeah, it's been, so I avoided it forever. But it's been pretty crucial to the growth of the business. Anytime you can find more sales channels, I avoid it for so long because, like I was saying earlier, it's so intimidating when you get all the things you need to do to get on Amazon.
Right.
And again, I printed it out and I started checking things off and highlighting and I made a million phone calls because their customer service is pretty helpful.
Just to get your product on there.
Just to get it on there, yeah. Because you need to go through, they want invoices, and it's different for grocery than any other category. And then you got to make sure your photography is right. There's just some hoops you got to jump through.
Out of curiosity, did they ask for a cottage food license? Did they look for?
No, because by the time I launched on Amazon, I was out of the cottage food space.
Okay.
So we weren't working with that cottage food operation. I would imagine they probably won't accept the cottage food.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm pretty certain they won't because they want to see where you manufacture.
Right.
So yeah, it's been crucial to the business. We've done, in about 60 days, we've done really, really well. We sell in 3-packs, we do a variety pack, and then we sell each flavor in a 3-pack.
Do you sell through their Prime channel as well?
Yeah, so we do fulfill by Amazon, which basically means we take all the product, I wrap it in some cellophane and use a heat gun and squeeze it all together basically.
Just shrink wrap it.
Yeah, shrink wrap it, yeah. And then we ship it out to them. And then they do everything else. The key is you do have to manage the listing. It's a big game.
Right.
It's not easy. You could have a great product and sell nothing. You could have a terrible product and sell a ton.
Right.
And it's all about reviews.
Yeah, sometimes people think like, oh, okay, if there's a marketplace, like let's say Etsy, for example. And actually my kids have a slime business now. They're selling on Etsy. They just got an order today, which was funny. So when they get home, I have to tell them, hey, you got an order, you got to fulfill it. But the thought process is like, okay, once I get on this marketplace, if you build it, they will come. Like I need to get orders right off the bat, but it still comes down to the entrepreneur to do their promotions, and to manage the listing, to make sure their photography is beautiful and all these kinds of things.
Right.
And I think it's interesting because, you know, even in a situation like Amazon, when you're posting, there's still so much the business owner needs to do to make Amazon successful,
sure.
right? And with DishDivvy, of course, we're very new. We're nothing compared to Amazon at this point, maybe one day. But, you know, when our cooks post, we try to give them the tools that help them propel their business as far as like good food photography and how to post on social media and whatnot. But in the end, like the entrepreneur, the cook, the business owner needs to be super motivated to manage their business and their offering. So I think it's a fascinating point that any tool that you're using, it ultimately comes down to you as a business owner and how you're going to manage that.
And Amazon's only your storefront. Now you got to decorate your storefront. And I mean, how are people going to come find you? Like when you're launching Amazon businesses, like it's different because this is my product and I want to put it on Amazon. But if you're just Joe Schmo selling, you know, you decided to buy a bunch of fidget spinners from China and sell on Amazon, you got to find a way to separate yourself. You have to find a way. You have to see what the barrier of entry is.
Right.
Again, there's a million hoops to jump through. But there's tools out there to find out whether or not people are searching.
Well, it changes your margins too. Right?
Oh yeah.
So the cost ad, I mean, you're obviously doing some sort of revenue split, and so then you have to think about, okay, like, what is the traction I'm going to get? What is the brand exposure I'm going to get? How much revenue increase am I going to get? In exchange, of course, there's a margin change, but in the long run, you have to see, okay, how is this affecting my business?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, you know, remember when you first start, it's like, well, you need to get reviews, and so maybe you're gonna. And it's a nice thing because you can change your pricing too, and everyone's different. So I mean, if you want to start it maybe a little bit lower and people buy it and you get a ton of reviews, and then up the price down the road, you can do that, or vice versa, however you want to do it. Again, it all comes down to how much the product costs to make and what your margins are. Some people treat Amazon as a pure marketing tool. And it's like, well, at least if I get on Amazon, maybe there's a way I can export the emails I'm getting or retarget these people for a new product I'm launching or whatever it is. And you know, again, there's reasons why there's people on Amazon who sell millions and millions of dollars worth of products, and there's people on Amazon who have a great product and can't sell it for anything.
Right.
Because again, it is you do have to manage it. It is. It doesn't just happen. You know, you don't go on Amazon and something blow up.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very good point because. The conventional wisdom is that you're on Amazon, then you know you are going to blow up.
Right.
But any marketplace, any tool, any software, it's just a tool. Like you have to be able to manage it and grow it. So I think that's a great point. So where do you see the Papa Bear brand being in the next year? I know there's some really cool stuff happening right now. Where do you see it in 5 years?
Yeah.
Are you fully going to be committed to food? How's that going to work out?
Yeah, so we're changing some things around. We're working on some new product extensions. I won't go too far into detail with it quite yet, but launching a new line of products that might not necessarily only be nut butters. We want to do bars, we want to do cookies, we want to do things that are kind of in the same space using these products, capitalize on the traction we've made up until this point, and then just launch new products for people. I mean, you can launch 1,000,001 of these if you want. Some stick, some do great, some don't. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a time where
stick is a good pun.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be a time where I'm like, okay, this just isn't working anymore. Does it cost me too much, or people don't like it, whatever it is, you pull it and you try something else. But we want to do squeeze packs, you know, we want to do the types of things that are I hate to say trendy, but trendy because there's a reason why they trend.
Yeah.
And mostly because.
And I think like the snack space right now is so big because people have such a busy lifestyle, especially with kids and something healthy like this that incorporating it into easy snacks is definitely
helps portion control. I mean, I get people telling me all the time like, oh, like I can't have it in the house because I eat too much of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a real problem. Right? It really is a real problem because that will deter somebody from ordering online. It's easier when you have it as an impulse buy at the grocery store, but when you need to type in your shipping information, your credit card, and all that stuff to order online,
that's an interesting.
It's real.
Purchasing psychology, right?
It's definitely real because I've met people who are obsessed with the product, who love it, but don't purchase, and I'm always like, that's interesting. I wonder why. And then I don't like maybe I should, but I don't. Like come forward and say, hey, why haven't you bought in a long time? I'm not gonna ask. But inevitably they'll be like, oh, I literally can't have it in the house because I eat too much of it. or like late at night. Like I was dating a girl who I'd come downstairs in the morning, and I go to the gym, and there's a knife in my sink that's got churro butter on it. And I knew she had snuck off in the middle of the night and went downstairs. And I mean, like,
I can even see, like, you know, like those hummus snack packs you get at Trader Joe's, like having part of it be the churro butter and then like some sort of like dipping mechanism.
You're right on track.
That would be cool.
You're right on track. That's like exactly what we're heading towards. We're just trying not to get into the refrigerated section.
You can give me royalties for that. New revenue stream.
Yeah. I'm trying not to get into the refrigerated space because I wanted to do like apples and peanut butter or something.
Yeah.
But when you start talking refrigeration, it's a whole new beast.
Or like quinoa pretzels or something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
That side of it, I mean, like this side's done. You know, now it's got like 50% of that part of it is done. Now I need the other 50%, whether it's pretzels or it's banana chips or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, we're still working on it, but yeah, the whole goal the next year is to launch several more products.
Nice.
And from there, it's just if it works, keep going with it. If it doesn't work, pull it and try something else.
Well, congratulations on everything that's happening. Why don't you tell viewers where they can find your product, your website, and sort of like your Instagram? I know you're pretty active on that.
Yeah, sure. So the website's ilovepapabear.com. Use the discount code 10% off if you type in I Love Papa Bear at checkout. We're also on Amazon selling in 3-packs, fulfilled by Amazon, so Amazon Prime. We're out of the farmers markets, so no more farmers markets, but we're strictly online now. But yeah, and the Instagram is @EatPapaBears, same with Twitter @EatPapaBears, and yeah, be sure to follow.
For sure. And for the Papa Bear fans out there, so DishDivvy is an online marketplace that connects approved home cooks with hungry neighbors. So essentially you go onto our application and you look up awesome dishes that have been uploaded from these talented cooks in your neighborhood. You purchase right on the app and you check out. So for your first order, you can use coupon code ENJOY50 and get 50% off. You can go to dishdivvy.com. We have our app launching August 4th, which is really exciting in downtown LA. So if you're into tech or you're into food or into both, or you just want to have a good time, reach out to us at hello@dishdivvy.com and we'll send you a personalized invite to the party. Okay, so this is the fun part. We're here with Ani, who's a master baker on DishDivvy. Ani also holds her Cottage Food license and makes delicious cookies that she's going to tell you about. And I'll just have her take it away of how we create this amazing recipe using Mike's nut butter today.
Sure. So we're going to make chocolate chip cookies, all-time favorite, but this time we're going to use coconut flour instead of regular flour. So they're going to be paleo and they're going to be gluten-free at the same time. So all we need is eggs, coconut flour, coconut oil, baking soda, honey instead of sugar, chocolate chips of course, and Mike's peanut butter.
That's the Nanner Butter, banana peanut butter.
Banana peanut butter. It's gonna taste amazing.
So what's in this peanut butter, Mike?
So that's pretty simple. It's just peanuts, a little tiny bit of cinnamon, organic honey, and dry banana.
Okay, cool.
Salt.
Nice.
Sounds great. Okay, so we're gonna start.
Mike, have you made cookies before?
I've made a handful of cookies. You know, I've done the no-bake cookies. You ever do those? Like, it's just like banana, peanut butter, like maybe coconut or something. You like, I think that was it. You literally like mash it all together and roll it, and just no-bake, like put it in the freezer.
Oh, okay. Almost like a bar, but in the shape
More,
of a cookie.
right.
Okay.
Almost like a snack ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that doesn't answer my question. So like, no.
So no, I don't make a lot of cookies.
So we're gonna add the coconut oil. There goes 2 tablespoons of coconut oil.
It's interesting that there's not too much oil in that, because
No.
when you buy like those baking kits at the grocery stores, they take like a third or a half a cup of oil sometimes.
No.
This is like very low oil.
Yes, that's right. And to be honest, I even tried without any oil, and the oil that is in coconut and in peanut butter is completely
It's enough.
Yes.
Okay, so just the natural nut oils.
Yes, that's right. But in this case, coconut oil add some omegas in the food that is really good for our health.
Sure.
That's why I'm using it.
I like using coconut oil too for it'll help just smooth out a product like that. My cashew butter I was saying earlier, it gets a little thick, and you pop just even like a when we do it on a larger scale, like a half a cup of coconut oil, smooths it out real nice, and also adds a nice little coconut flavor.
That's right. And instead of sugar, I modified this recipe for my family, for my kids, so I'm using honey. So it's gonna be a 1/3 cup of honey.
Yeah, we do that a lot too. I make a lot of gluten. When I do bake, I do a lot of gluten-free, and I feel like honey tastes better in the baked goods than sugar. Like I'm actually, whenever we've used sugar, it's like way too sweet, and I feel like honey's like perfect. Or even agave sometimes. It's really good.
I think we've gotten used to like just better tasting sweeteners.
Yeah.
You know, like real raw sugar tastes like tastes almost manufactured.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, could you please pour this amazing peanut butter together? 3/4 of a cup in this thing.
This is a full cup.
This one's a full cup, so a little bit less than.
It's less. A little bit
A little
more.
bit more.
A little bit more.
I like the consistency.
Yes, it's
Very velvety.
Yeah.
now we're gonna mix our dry ingredients. So half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 of a cup of coconut flour. We're gonna mix all this together. When the dough is ready, we're going to put 1 to 2 tablespoons of dough on a cookie sheet. Okay. Like this. You can use just a regular spoon or ice cream scoop. Just keep them apart. So I'm going to use just the regular water to just flatten the cookies a little bit.
You said that just helps like condense them down a little bit?
Yes, just a little bit. If you want them to be absolute round, you should use just ice cream scoop.
Uh-huh.
They're homemade, so they can be just.
It's a good trick. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, me neither.
They're going to be huge though.
So they're gonna be huge?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna put these cookies in the oven for 11 minutes in 350 degrees.
So we're waiting for the cookies to finish baking. So I figured this would be a good time to kind of learn from Ani. Like, how did you get into baking? Like, was this a passion of yours? How did this all start?
So yes, I was always more of a baker than a cook. So I love baking. But when I had my first child, I realized that I don't want my kid to have all these store-bought baked goods
Yeah.
with all the long list of ingredients that I
half
couldn't
of
even
them
understand.
you can't even pronounce these like ingredients that are in there.
That's right. And when he was asking for some bar or a cookie or some kind of a bread, I was just getting the recipes, modifying them, reducing sugar, reducing salt and everything, and putting honey or any other sweetener, which is more natural. And then getting a new product which is good, which is yummy, and there is no artificial ingredients and artificial sweeteners, artificial colors or flavors that are so bad for
I mean, I think that's definitely like the huge positive piece of anything homemade is that you can control the ingredients that are going in there, and then you don't have that guilt factor of like, oh, I just ate preservatives and all of that. Yeah.
I was baking for my friends' kids, and everyone was asking me, why aren't you selling this? This is so good, I'm gonna buy this. And then I just decided to make it a brand, and we came up with Bubbly Bite. And so far we're doing great. We don't have too many customers, but customers who care about
Yeah.
their
Loyal customers who
their health.
really care about.
Actually,
Yeah.
yes, that's the most.
Yeah, and that's great.
important.
And you know, Ani is definitely like a. I know we got to get to the cookies right now. Is telling us, but she's like a amazing baker on DishDivvy. So you guys who out there who want great snacks and don't have the time to make it yourself, tap into the experts and get some really good snacks for you, your kids, or even if you're going to someone's house and you want to take a gift. Perfect way to gift, and the wrapping and the packaging is super cute. So I think you'll be very excited to try it out. These look really good. Who wants to be?
Taste, so.
Yeah, why don't we each grab one? Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Yum. Oh man, look at that. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Really good. I think this was a great combination of talents from DishDivvy and talents from Papa Bear. So great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.